The last tenant, Sarah Klein, unlocked the door to apartment 4B at 2:17 a.m. The deadbolt scraping like a fingernail on bone. The building super had warned her not to move in so late, but the rent was impossibly cheap and she was exhausted from 3 straight weeks of couch surfing after a breakup. She just wanted walls and silence. The place smelled of old paint and something faintly metallic. She flicked on the lights. Everything looked normal: cheap beige carpet, a sagging couch the previous tenant had left behind, a narrow hallway leading to the bedroom. She dragged her suitcase inside, locked the door, and collapsed onto the couch without unpacking. At 3:33 a.m., she woke to the sound of breathing. Not her own. It came from the bedroom, slow and wet, like someone trying not to be heard. Sarah sat up, heart hammering. The apartment was still. No movement. She told herself it was the building settling, or pipes, or her own frayed nerves. She crept down the hall anyway, phone flashlight raised like a weapon. The bedroom was empty. Of course it was. She left the light on and tried to sleep again. The next night it happened earlier. She was brushing her teeth when she heard the front door open and close. Not a creak, a deliberate, quiet click. Footsteps crossed the living room. Heavy. Male. They stopped right outside the bathroom door. Sarah froze, foam on her lips, razor in her hand. "Hello." Her voice sounded tiny. No answer. She waited 10 full minutes before she could make herself open the door. The living room was empty. The chain lock was still fastened from the inside. On the third night she found the notebook. It was under the couch, a cheap spiral-bound thing with a cracked black cover. Inside, page after page of the same sentence written in thick, frantic ink: "He watches from the corner when the lights are off." The handwriting changed on the last few pages, became shaky, almost childlike. The final entry was dated 3 weeks earlier, the day before she'd signed the lease: "He's standing behind me right now. I can feel his breath on my neck. If you're reading this, don't turn around." Sarah laughed nervously and closed the notebook. She was alone. She had checked every closet, every cabinet. Still, she slept with every light in the apartment blazing. On the 4th night the whispers started. They came from inside the walls, soft and intimate, like a lover speaking directly into her ear. "Sarah, you left the stove on. She hadn't cooked anything. Sarah, your mother called. She's worried you'll end up like your sister. Her sister had died of an overdose 6 years ago. Sarah had never told anyone in this city about her." She pressed her ear to the wall. The voice was right there, inches away, amused. "You're prettier when you're scared." She moved the couch in front of the bedroom door that night and sat against it with a kitchen knife across her lap. Sleep never came. At 4:07 a.m., the power went out. Every light died at once. In the sudden darkness she heard the front door open again. This time the footsteps didn't stop in the living room. They walked straight toward the bedroom. Slow. Patient. She could hear the carpet fibers compressing under weight that wasn't there. Sarah gripped the knife until her knuckles screamed. The footsteps reached the door. The handle turned, but the couch held. Then the voice spoke from the other side of the wood, inches from her head. It sounded exactly like her own. "Let me in, Sarah. It's cold out here." She screamed and lunged for the window, ready to jump from the 4th floor rather than open that door. Her hand hit the glass. It was already open. She had never opened it. Something brushed the back of her neck, cold fingers, long and thin. She spun around, slashing wildly with the knife. The blade met nothing but air. The power flickered back on. She was alone in the bedroom. The couch was still against the door. But on the wall opposite the bed, written in what looked like fresh blood, was a new message: "Thank you for moving the couch." Sarah didn't sleep for the next 2 days. She called the super, begging to be let out of the lease. He sounded confused. 4B. "Lady, that unit's been vacant for 8 months. The last tenant. Well, he didn't exactly move out. She could hear him typing. Guy hung himself in the bedroom closet. Left a note saying something was living in the walls and it was learning how to wear his face. Cops found the body 3 weeks later. Place has been empty since. You sure you have the right apartment? Sarah looked around. The notebook was gone. The message on the wall was gone. But she could feel eyes on her, patient, hungry, learning. That night she tried to leave. The front door wouldn't open. The deadbolt was unlocked, the chain was off, but the door refused to budge as if someone much stronger was holding it from the other side. The lights began turning off one by one. Living room. Kitchen. Hallway. Only the bedroom light remained. From inside the closet came the sound of a zipper, her suitcase, opening by itself. Clothes rustled. Shoes scraped across the floor. Then the closet door creaked open. Her own clothes stepped out. They walked like a person. Empty sleeves swinging. Jeans filled with nothing. The shape moved with her exact posture, her slight limp from an old ankle injury. It stopped in the bedroom doorway and looked at her with the smooth, featureless surface where a face should be. Sarah backed against the window. The thing wearing her clothes tilted its head exactly the way she did when she was nervous. Then it spoke with her voice, perfect down to the faint Midwestern accent she'd tried to lose. "You can leave now, Sarah. I've got it from here." She screamed and threw herself through the window. The glass didn't break. It stretched like warm taffy around her body and then snapped back, flinging her into the center of the room. She landed hard on the carpet. The thing wearing her clothes crouched beside her. It had almost finished forming her face. The nose was wrong, too long, but the eyes were hers. Terrified. Familiar. It reached out and gently brushed hair from her forehead the way she did when she was trying to calm herself down. "Shoo. It's almost over. You're the last tenant, Sarah. After you, I won't need to practice anymore." Sarah tried to crawl away, but her limbs wouldn't obey. She could feel something sliding inside her skin, cold and curious, trying on her memories like new clothes. The last thing she saw was her own face smiling down at her with perfect, loving tenderness. The apartment 4B lights came back on at 3:33 a.m. A new tenant would be moving in soon. The rent was impossibly cheap. And somewhere inside the walls, something that now knew exactly how to be Sarah Klein waited patiently for the next person who needed a place to stay.